Welcome to the Finance Committee meeting. The first order of business is to approve last month's committee meeting minutes. Motion made by Supervisor Strauss, second by Supervisor McDevitt. Any discussion, changes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. In your packet, item 1, you have your transfers. Any corrections or thoughts? If not, I need a motion to approve these, made by Supervisor Simpson, seconded by Supervisor Merlino. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 2, items to be discussed by our county treasurer. Michael, go right ahead.
Good morning, everybody. The first item is a request for a transfer of funds in the amount of $60,000 from the contingency account to cover the cost of college chargebacks, which have increased more than anticipated. Just to give you a quick background on this, if somebody doesn't remember what this is about, if somebody who has a certificate of residency in Warren County goes to, let's say, Montgomery Fulton Community College, they are only billed for half of the tuition, and the other half of the tuition is paid by Warren County. Okay, and it flips the other way. If somebody from Fulton County comes to the Sooty Adirondack, the same thing happens, and their county gets charged back. So, you know, we estimate at the beginning of the year what this is, and we're a little short. So we need some money to cover that.
Okay, just for the committee's edification, we start today with $105,000 in the contingent account. So the 60 would come out of that. Motion made by Supervisor Simpson, seconded by Supervisor Bramer. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, Michael, item B.
Item B is, last month we talked about my fiscal advisor contract, extending it because we're trying to refinance the bonds on the Human Services building. So we went out for an RFP for our next contract, which covers the years 2020, 2021, and 2022. I sent the bid tabulation sheet in. I'm not sure whether you all got it in your agendas, but this is the Capital Markets Advisor, is the company that we're dealing with right now. I've been dealing with them since I've been treasurer, and I'm glad that they were basically the best proposal. So I would like to enter into a contract with them for the next 3 years as our fiscal advisor.
I'll move that.
Okay, motion made by Supervisor Strauss, seconded by Supervisor Bramer. Did you have a question? Go ahead.
Could you just walk us through this? Because I don't understand how to compare them. They don't look to me like apples to apples.
Well, that's one of the problems, and that's why I say I can't use the term low
I caught
bidder.
your wording, yes.
Because there really isn't a low bidder. It's basically how they're going to structure any type of, if we do a full bond, a refinance of a bond, or a bond anticipation note. The fiscal advisor will be working with us, and basically, if you look at theirs, they're a flat fee of $8,500 for most of their work, which is less than if you consider if we're looking at a $10 million or up bond. Now, if we're under $10 million, more than likely we're not going to bond it the same way as if we would use this. We might go to a bond anticipation note, which is cheaper to do than a regular bond. So overall, and their annual, part of the requirements of having bonds is that we have to file annual statements of what's going on in the county and impact statements and so forth, and their fee for doing that is cheaper than the rest of them. But it's not just the low bid, it's how they're going to provide the service. And most of the other ones want to do it on a percentage basis, and these people are a flat fee. So the more you bond, the more these other people are going to charge you.
Supervisor McDevitt, did you have a question?
Just in general terms, Mike, what is our current bond rating?
A double A plus satisfactory. I have to remember how I say that. Now, we are going to be going through another rating because we're trying to refinance the bonds for, like I said, the Human Services building. The first indications that I have from that, if we keep our fingers crossed and we're good, we might get a AAA rating.
Maybe AA plus amazing?
Yeah, I mean, that AA plus is phenomenal. I mean,
Yeah.
but
How does that compare to Saratoga County, Washington County, Albany County?
be honest with you, I don't know. I haven't looked at any of them, but I can find out and get back to you. I mean, at one point in time, our county rating was A minus back in the middle of 2000s when 2008 hit and we ran out of money and so forth. Our bond rating went down to, it was an A minus. So due to the good budgeting of the county and the good work that's been done by the board and everything, we have built that way back up, and that's something to be proud of.
Thank you.
Okay, so we do have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Dennis, you can join us if you'd like.
I wasn't quite sure where you were.
Anything else, Michael?
Oh, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, moving on. Item 3, we have referrals from the Budget Committee. Frank, did you want me to run through these, or did you want to discuss them?
Well, this is a referral from the Budget Committee from last week. This is a proposal that I proposed to the Budget Committee to establish reserves. The $650,000 from the general fund balance will capitalize the reserves. I think there's 6 of them. The other note, they're also going to be funded through the 2020 budget to the amount of $330,000. First one is for Cindy Adirondack for operating and capital improvements. $150,000 in the 2020 budget and $100,000 from the fund balance. For a total of $250,000. This is to help the college's operating position. The counties, the sponsors are lagging behind in where they should be as a percentage of the operating expense. I think the college is headed in a great direction. I think it bodes well for a future here in Warren County, and I think it's working best. The second one is county buildings, $25,000 in the budget, $20,000 in the fund balance. This is to pay the maintenance needs and the capital costs. Also part of that is the countryside rehabilitation. As you know, we have to study the countryside. And, it needs upgrading, it needs improving, maximize our capacity. We have 48 beds around in the mid-30s for packages. That's $200,000 from the general fund balance, and $25,000 in the budget. Next one is capital project assessments. The chairman asked for a list of capital projects. And, this is a modest start to address that situation, to do assessments and engineering projects so that grants can be applied for. And that's $100,000 in the 2020 budget and $50,000 in fund balance. Election equipment. I propose to put another $100,000 in there. Part of the election students, we need new election machines, which are between $400,000 and $500,000. Currently, we have $84,000 in there, and this will add another $100,000. Any unused funds from their budget will also roll into this. Last two are retirement payouts, and this is $50,000 from fund balance and $15,000 within the budget. This is to pay when people retire to have money on hand to pay the expenses. And the last one is uninsured losses, property and casualty. That's mainly for deductibles. As soon as it gets off, not having money set aside for.
Frank, am I missing a $50,000 somewhere? It looks like if you add all these under B and C, it comes to $600,000, but the request is for $650. Am I missing one somewhere?
I get $650.
Yeah, $650.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so under employee benefit accrued, we didn't put 50 grand in there. Okay, all right.
I'll make a motion. Move A, B, and C, 3A, B, C.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made by Supervisor Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Dickinson. Ryan?
I just wanted to get on the record, just an academic point on the accounting. Some of these will be fund balance restrictions, which is how we typically do reserves. Others may be fund balance assignments. We'll come up with whatever's appropriate with the deputy treasurer, but it'll have the same effect. We're putting money away for these purposes.
And I would add that, for the most part, these accounts will be liquid, so even if the board or the county runs into issues, this can be liquidated and applied to the resolution.
Supervisor Bramer?
Thanks. I wanted to make the point that I'm very pleased that we're giving additional money to SUNY Adirondack. They are doing a great job. Yesterday I was at the Workforce Development Forum with Mayor Hall and Supervisor Strau, and it was really educational and encouraging to see how much they are already doing for our workforce development to make sure that our students are able to get a really good education and be able to go right into sustainable and well-paying jobs right here in our region. So I think the more that we can bolster them, the better. We don't need to necessarily reinvent the wheel, but just help them with their being able to support the students better.
That meeting was too early for me.
It was really great.
Supervisor Beatty?
I concur with SUNY Adirondack. I think it's an unknown fact that Glens Falls, Queensbury, and other school districts have a tremendous connection with SUNY Adirondack in developing individuals for different types of jobs. And I wasn't even aware of that, and I said to Doug Huntley, Dr. Huntley, and Dr. Duffy, that's the best not known secret around. We already have, they have set up significant connections working together with school districts and SUNY Adirondack to fulfill different types of jobs. And that's one thing that we need to promote even stronger. Now, I know a few up-county districts unfortunately don't participate, and I'm not sure why they don't, but hopefully they'll all participate in the near future. But the vast majority of the school districts offer this opportunity to get these students into jobs that sectors that aren't as glamorous maybe, but are definitely needed, and there's a huge need for that. So I concur, I'm 100% for funding this SUNY Adirondack program.
Supervisor Leggett?
Thank you, Chairman. We're setting up these reserves. Is that subject to permissive referendum?
Ryan, did you catch that?
I didn't catch that, I'm sorry.
This is subject to permissive referendum.
No.
Not?
Creating these reserves? No.
Different. Good question. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. That was to move A, B, and C. Okay, item 4 is from the county facilities. Under airport, we have a request to establish capital project airport 2 snow plows, amount of $415,000. Motion made by Supervisor Garrity, second by Supervisor Beatty. Discussion? All in favor?
I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Are these live edge plows?
Live edge.
Do they come with plows? Are they live edge plows or they're just dirty old plows?
No, it's just very little plow. It's just for the airport. It's for runway use, not for road.
Do you salt the runway?
No. We typically use special.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry I didn't see your hand. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Item B, request to appropriate funds in the amount of $20,750 from the Reserve Airport Repair and Projects to budget code transfers capital project to provide funding for the purchase of 2 new snow plows. Motion made by Supervisor Garrity, second by Supervisor McDevitt. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. And C is a request to amend Resolution 739 of 2011 to change the description of reserve airport repair and projects to include airport equipment purchases.
Move it.
Motion made by Supervisor Dickinson, second by Supervisor Garrity. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Moving on to item 5, under Criminal Justice and Public Safety. A is Office of Emergency Services. Request to increase capital project hazard mitigation grant program in the amount of $150,000. Motion made by Mr. Simpson, seconded by Supervisor McDevitt. Any discussion?
Where's the 150,000 coming from?
This is,
The match is, I think it's a 33% match, and it's in kind. It's staff time.
Thank you.
right. Yes. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Under Sheriff, we have a request to authorize an appropriation of funds in the amount of $62,330.50 from the general fund unappropriated surplus to Budget Code Law Enforcement Safety Equipment to return funds from 2018 purchase orders which were not carried over to the 2019 budget. Motion made by Supervisor Simpson, seconded by Supervisor Kramer. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. 6, referrals from the Occupancy Tax Committee. Item A is a request to appropriate $15,000 from Budget Code Reserve Occupancy Tax to Budget Code Other Payments Contributions to cover the additional funding owed in accordance with the local law which requires 25% of the occupancy tax revenues collected to be distributed to the towns of Warren County. Motion made by Supervisor Dickinson, seconded by Supervisor Stroud. Just something we have to do. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. B, request to appropriate $10,000 from reserve occupancy tax to tourism occupancy, tourism special events, toward funding for the 2019 Adirondack Chris Kindle Mart event. That was discussed in depth. Motion made by Supervisor Dickinson, second by Supervisor Merlino. Yes, Supervisor Brandon.
This is coming out of reserve, occupancy tax reserve.
Yes.
That's for the 2018, I'm sorry, what year are we in? 2019.
2019.
2019.
What amount is in there?
Sorry?
Does anyone know how much is in there?
It's a little over $2 million, right, Mike? Million and a half.
We can afford it.
This is a growing event. I mean, they did really
Yeah.
well last year.
Yeah, no, that's...
Supervisor
They,
McCown.
can I just make a comment on that too? They did send out an email if you want to volunteer. You need to contact the volunteer coordinator.
Supervisor McCown.
Yes. Treasury Fund did bring up before, if we staying on this course with occupancy tax, there could be trouble in the future. And I'm not saying anything about, Chris Mart there, but this $15,000 that we're taking out of the reserve, which by local laws, the town received 25% of collection, so we didn't take enough out to give to the town out of the reserve. Is that how I'm reading that?
Well, isn't it that
We didn't know.
there was more money taken in and you didn't have enough money to
Yeah,
make
because
the
of the-
excess payment back to, not excess, but...
That's basically it, yeah. The law says 25% of what's collected. Well, there was more collected than anticipated, so 25% becomes a bigger figure. You estimate that at the beginning of the year, you're a little off.
And we can't take some of that $10,000 from Chris Mart out of that 15.
I don't
think you want to do that.
Dan,
Well, I know all the towns complain, but like I said, we're on track, of or funds going down. So I'm trying to look at, ways that maybe we don't have to keep pulling and giving and pushing it, and the Chris part seems to, we all benefit from it. So I was just wondering if it's something that could be simple, but obviously it can't be, so we'll move on.
Go ahead, Ryan.
That $15,000 that we just added to make the 25% payments, that essentially represents an additional $60,000 in revenue that we didn't plan for. So the differential there, the 45, that's where the 10 would come from.
Right, thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Okay, moving on to item 7. These are all items from DPW. A is to amend the county budget to increase transfer capital projects in the amount of, we have a change here. It was a change this morning, so the figure actually goes up by about $470. So the new amount is $20,272.76, and that would be reflected in Part B, which is the capital project that it's going to, and that would be now, instead of $41,186.07, it's going to be $41,653.22. So could probably move both A and B.
I'll make the motion, but I have a question.
Yeah, okay, so we have a motion to move A and B, made by Supervisor Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Simpson.
You can do them all.
Yeah.
Want to do them all?
Yeah, I'm okay doing them, but I still have a question.
A through F?
Yeah.
I'll second.
A through F?
Second by Supervisor Simpson, okay.
What is going on?
Okay, discussion?
I hate to be a stickler, but I have asked before that when we go into identifying projects, I've asked that we identify the town where the project's being done at. And I don't know why it's such a strain to put County Route 54 Sunnyside Road. I'm pretty sure that's in Queensbury, but I don't know why we can't identify the community with these projects. I've asked before, and I thought we were getting there, but I see back again, we still don't have them on there. So I'm making a formal request that when we do these transfers, not just the road, but we also identify the community that the project's in. Not that I have any problem with any of them.
Withdraw your resolution.
Mr. Hajos, is that okay if we
Yes.
can do something like that?
I will make a motion now to make sure that everything.
And I'll be checking.
We'll reflect that in the evaluation.
Sorry.
Okay, we have a motion for item 7A through F on the floor. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Okay, moving on to item 8. These are referrals from the Support Services Committee. County Auditor, request for a transfer of funds in the amount of $500 from the contingent account to pay for increased telephone bill that was not budgeted for.
Moved.
Thank you. Motion made by Supervisor Bramer, seconded by Supervisor Garrity. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. And then B is Clerk of the Board, request for a transfer of funds in the amount of $3,000 from the contingent account to cover the estimated cost of supervisor mileage reimbursements. Made by Supervisor Dickinson, seconded by Supervisor Simpson. Discussion, yes?
Do we not budget for supervisor mileage?
We budget, but
So we're $3,000 over what we thought in mileage for supervisors?
It also covers travel education, so we don't budget for like any additional travel.
Courses.
Say if we have more people that go to NISAC, that costs more. The trips to Washington, we didn't budget for. So those are all additional things that we pay out of our budget, and then at the end of the year when we run short, we come back and have to ask for money.
So the NISAC probably you budget for each year, probably 2 or 3 people to go. Washington was an additional whole shebang this year.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks.
And these will come out of the contingent account. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Item 9, items to be discussed by the county administrator. Ryan?
As always, we have the journal report in the packet. Any questions on any of those transfers?
None? Okay.
Okay, the second piece, initially in the 2020 budget request, Major LaFar had $22,500 to purchase a live scan system for the Chester station. What that is it runs fingerprints and it comes up with criminal records and such. And the additional $120,000 that was in the 2020 request was for a camera switch for the jail. So in the jail we have cameras in all of the pods, and the correction officers carry around essentially, it's like a panic alarm system, so if they hit it, the alarm goes down into the central controls, the control office, and the camera switch controls, getting where the problem is on all of those screens, so that we can deploy and handle the problem as quickly as possible, and that there's oversight in the control center, if you will. So it's a critical piece of equipment. We've had it since the jail was first built. And we want to replace it before it fails. If it failed, that wouldn't be a good thing. What we did is we took both of those items out of the 2020 budget, knowing that we had extra funding in the PBA contingency, the labor contingency this year, to cover that. In addition, Assemblyman Steck was able to get us a $50,000 grant from the state. We've applied to have the camera switch be paid for, partially paid for under this grant. That application is currently in the works. Every indication is that it'll be approved. We would start installation on that in the new year, but we would essentially put the purchase orders in this year. So those are the two items that I have. The first is to amend the budget to add that $50,000 in revenues and expenses, and the second is to transfer the remainder that's needed to do those two purchase orders out of the labor contingency. We've already transferred what was required from the labor contingency to do the retro payments and to upgrade the PBA salaries to what they need to be for 2019. And after we do this transfer, we'll have approximately $10,000 left over in that account.
Okay. Motion made by Supervisor Simpson to move B and C, seconded by Supervisor Bramer.
Ryan?
Question?
Yes. Wasn't all that money in the contingent account? We have a separate account.
Well, there are two. There's like a .1 contingent account that's separate for labor.
So we'll still have the 100 and whatever you just said?
Well, we're down to 41 after that.
Yeah.
Okay.
This doesn't come out of the main contingency. It comes out of the labor
That's what I
contingency.
was-
It's earmarked for the sheriff.
Right.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to move items B and C. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
In D, we, a couple of months ago, had a resolution from the assigned counsel office. This is in reference to the mandated improvements that we need to make in indigent representation, and we are required to have an attorney supervisor for the assigned counsel office. We elected to do that on a contract. Very small dollar amount, and Joy had identified John Goodman as an attorney who was interested in doing that work. We had his name in the resolution, and subsequently he decided, I'm not sure why, that he wasn't interested or couldn't handle it with his current caseload, but needless to say, he can't do it. Because we have his name in the initial resolution, we need to amend that resolution to just say generically an attorney. And in case anybody wants to know, the mystery man who's agreed to do it is Rob Greger, who used to work in the public defender's office, who did an excellent job. He had just some scheduling issues with other responsibilities he has, and he unfortunately had to leave the public defender's office, but we really loved having him when he was here. He's very forward-thinking, and in my opinion, he's the perfect person to fulfill this role, and Marcy and Joy both agree on that.
Okay, motion made by Supervisor Simpson, second by Supervisor Dickinson. Any discussion?
Should we
Supervisor?
put that attorney's name in, or just leave it blank?
If the thought was to put just a generic attorney, so in case this happens again, we could
We don't have to.
amend that contract. But if you want the name in there, we'll put the name in there. If you're interested to know who does this work all the time.
I think, give them the flexibility to,
Got to change it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, we're going to hop down to 11. We're going to approve the items from personnel, and those are items 3A, 4, 5, and 6B. Not 6B?
That's right. The schedule.
Oh, right. I'm sorry, 3A, 4, 5. Motion made by Supervisor Frazier, seconded by Supervisor Dickinson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Pending items, I addressed it this morning actually with Mr. Garrity. He took care of that, so
Yeah, that,
so we're all good there. We don't have to address that. And our treasurer, Michael Swan, has been extremely busy. This is not urgent to get this done today, so we'll give him another month, and hopefully he can come back to us in November and address this. Okay, now we need to turn this over to our county attorney. Mayor.
Yes, so I would just request an executive session to talk about settlement and our current litigation.
Motion made by Supervisor Simpson, seconded by Supervisor Dickinson. We are in executive. All in favor?
Aye.
Regular session. There was no action taken in executive, but coming out of executive, we are going to need a motion for payment to be made from the general fund for the amount of $57,508.70. And this will be
I would say settlement in the amount of $57,500.
the settlement amount. Okay. Anybody care to make that motion? Supervisor Strauss, seconded by Supervisor Dickinson. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. Anything else to come before the Finance Committee? Privilege of the floor?
motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn made by Supervisor Beatty, seconded by Supervisor Garrity. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you.